in a significant win for democratic institutions. U.S. District Judge Dabney Friedrich, a Trump appointee, issued a preliminary injunction on August 11, 2025, ordering the Trump administration to release $95 million in congressionally appropriated funds to the National Endowment for Democracy, NED. This ruling, stemming from a lawsuit filed by the NED, marks a critical moment in the ongoing battle to protect congressional authority and ensure the continuation of programs that promote democracy worldwide. The decision underscores the importance of public interest litigation in holding the executive branch accountable, even in the face of a politically charged administration. The National Endowment for Democracy, established by Congress in 1983, is a private, nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering democratic institutions and individual liberties across the globe. With an annual appropriation of $315 million for fiscal year 2025, the NED supports over 2,000 non-governmental projects in more than 100 countries, focusing on election monitoring, countering authoritarian censorship, and promoting access to independent media. These initiatives align with long-term use interests by fostering stability, reducing extremism, and countering authoritarian influence from nations like Russia, China, and Iran. However, the Trump administration's priorities have often clashed with the NED's mission. Since January 2025, the administration has attempted to withhold significant portions of the NED's funding, leading to furloughs, canceled grants, and stalled projects. This move was part of a broader strategy to limit programs that do not align with the administration's objectives, raising concerns about the erosion of congressional authority and the power of the purse. The NED's lawsuit, filed on March 5, 2025, challenged the administration's actions as a violation of federal law, specifically the National Endowment for Democracy Act and the Administrative Procedure Act. Judge Dabney Friedrich's 15-page opinion is a masterclass in judicial clarity and restraint. Appointed by President Trump in 2017, Friedrich's ruling demonstrates that even judges selected by the Xi administration are not guaranteed to align with its policies when evidence and law dictate otherwise. In her decision, Friedrich found that the Trump administration's withholding of $95 million in funds was likely unlawful, citing internal documents that revealed the funds were subjected to a review for alignment with White House priorities. This, she argued, violated the National Endowment for Democracy Act, which explicitly prohibits the executive branch from imposing extra statutory conditions on the organization's funding. Friedrich's ruling emphasized the constitutional principle of separation of powers, particularly Congress's authority over appropriations. The Impoundment Control Act of 1974, a cornerstone of federal budgeting law, restricts the executive's ability to withhold congressionally approved funds without congressional consent. The judge rejected the administration's claim that reserving the funds for the next fiscal year was intended to ensure the NED's financial stability, calling the rationale not plausible given the administration's repeated delays and arbitrary obstacles. The injunction ordered the immediate release of the $95 million, which had been withheld since January 2025, affecting 226 approved grants, 124 grants recommended for approval, and 53 core institute projects. These projects, Friedrich noted, were deemed important and time-sensitive by both the NED and Congress, critical to advancing democratic values and countering global authoritarianism. The ruling also denied the administration's request for a stay pending appeal, ensuring that the funds would be dispersed without further delay. This victory is not an isolated event, but part of a broader wave of public interest litigation aimed at curbing executive overreach. Since the start of the Trump administration in January 2025, public interest groups like Democracy Forward and the ACLU, alongside Democratic attorneys general, have filed over 500 lawsuits challenging various administration actions. These cases, often fought at the district court level, address issues ranging from funding freezes to attempts to federalize local institutions, such as the District of Columbia's police department. The NED case exemplifies why these lawsuits matter. While high-profile cases that reach the U.S. Supreme Court often dominate headlines, The vast majority of legal battles are resolved at the trial court level or the first level of appeal. Democratic attorneys general, led by figures like California's Rob Bonta, have achieved a remarkable 90% success rate in these cases, forcing the administration to back down on multiple fronts. For instance, a recent hearing before Judge Reyes in the District of Columbia saw the Trump administration abandon its attempt to federalize the D.C. police after the judge signaled a likely ruling against them, citing the Home Rule Act. These victories demonstrate the resilience of democratic institutions and the effectiveness of coordinated legal strategies. Public interest groups and state attorneys general have acted as first responders, running into the burning building of democracy to protect constitutional norms. Their efforts have secured the release of billions of dollars in funding for education, democracy promotion, and other critical programs, often without the need for Supreme Court intervention. Following Judge Friedrich's ruling, the Department of Justice announced that it would expeditiously release the $95 million to the Ned, a move that signals a rare capitulation by the administration. Assistant Attorney General Brett Shumate, in a status report filed on August 13, 2025, confirmed that the funds would be dispersed through a grant consistent with applicable law. This swift compliance suggests that the administration recognized the strength of Friedrich's legal reasoning and the unlikelihood of prevailing on appeal. However, the administration's broader strategy remains aggressive. Since January 2025, it has issued hundreds of executive orders aimed at reshaping federal programs and priorities, often testing the limits of executive authority. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, led by Director Russell Vought, has been a key player in these efforts, advocating for funding cuts and policy reviews that align with the administration's objectives. Vaught's public statements, including a May 2025 letter urging Congress to defund the NED entirely, have been cited as evidence of political motivations behind the funding freeze. Despite these challenges, the administration has faced significant setbacks. A Government Accountability Office, GAO, has issued multiple opinions since July 2025, finding that the Trump administration violated the Impoundment Control Act in several instances. These findings, combined with judicial rulings like Friedrich's, highlight the legal and political vulnerabilities of the administration's approach to governance. The NDED case underscores a critical point. The fight for democracy is won in the trenches of district courts, not just in the marble halls of the Supreme Court. While the Supreme Court's conservative majority often looms large in public discourse, only a fraction of cases, approximately 100 out of tens of thousands, filed annually, reach its docket. Of those, many are resolved through the shadow docket or emergency applications, further narrowing the scope of its influence. The real battleground lies at the trial court level, where judges like Friedrich can issue injunctions that have immediate, tangible impacts. Public interest groups and Democratic attorneys general have proven adept at exploiting this reality. By filing lawsuits early and often, they have forced the administration to defend its actions in court, where evidence and legal precedent often outweigh political rhetoric. The NED's victory, for example, not only restored critical funding, but also sent a message to the administration that its attempts to bypass Congress will face scrutiny and resistance. Moreover, these lawsuits serve as a blueprint for future resistance. The coordinated efforts of groups like Democracy Forward, which secured a temporary restraining order against an OMB funding freeze in January 2025, demonstrate the power of rapid legal action. By mobilizing resources and expertise, these organizations have created a robust defense against executive overreach, ensuring that programs like the NED can continue their vital work. The NED's mission to promote democracy and counter authoritarianism stands in stark contrast to the Trump administration's apparent disdain for diplomacy and global engagement. The administration's attempts to hollow out the State Department and cut funding for international aid reflect a broader rejection of the values that the NED embodies. This tension highlights the importance of institutions like the NED, which serve as bulwarks against authoritarianism both at home and abroad. The NED's core institutes, including the International Republican Institute, the National Democratic Institute, the Center for International Private Enterprise, and the Solidarity Center represent a bipartisan commitment to democratic principles. By supporting these institutes, the NED fosters stability and counters the influence of authoritarian regimes, a mission that is particularly urgent in an era of rising global extremism and migration pressures. Judge Friedrich's ruling reinforces the NED's ability to carry out this mission, ensuring that its 2,000 projects in 100 countries can continue without interruption. The decision also serves as a reminder that even in a polarized political climate, the judiciary can act as a neutral arbiter, upholding the rule of law and protecting democratic institutions from executive overreach. The NED case is a beacon of hope for those who fear that the Trump administration's actions are unstoppable. It demonstrates that legal challenges, when strategically executed, can yield significant results. The 90% success rate of Democratic attorneys general and public interest groups at the trial court level is a testament to the power of collective action and the resilience of the legal system. However, the fight is far from over. The Trump administration's aggressive tactics, including its use of executive orders and funding freezes, suggest that it will continue to test the boundaries of its authority. Public interest groups and state attorneys general must remain vigilant, ready to challenge unlawful actions at every turn. The NED's victory should serve as an inspiration, encouraging advocates to continue running into the burning building of democracy, rather than standing on the sidelines. For individuals looking to support these efforts, engaging with platforms like Legal AF Substack offers a way to stay informed and contribute to the cause. By subscribing, supporters can access court filings, oral arguments, and exclusive content that sheds light on the ongoing legal battles shaping the future of American democracy. A paid subscription, equivalent to the cost of a monthly coffee, provides additional resources to sustain this critical work.